Hello everyone and welcome to the Outer Rim Cantina. My name's Alan and today is the day that we finally get not just a crumb of marketing and information on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, but a full-blown teaser trailer. But before we dive in, if you enjoy the video, then don't forget to give it a like. Those really do help boost the channel in the YouTube algorithm, and any support is appreciated. If you love Star Wars and want even more discussions, analysis, news, and theories, then subscribe to the Cantina today and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload or a live stream. That's right, we finally actually have a trailer after waiting for what seems like years at this point, and actually that's probably pretty close to accurate. It has been a couple of years at least since the Kenobi series was even announced to be a thing, and ever since then we've gotten little crumbs of information here and there about the casting, potential characters, potential cameos, plot ideas, all of that good stuff, but we now finally have some concrete information in the form of a brand new Empire magazine cover for Obi-Wan Kenobi, which gives us a glimpse of Ewan McGregor himself reprising his role as Obi-Wan and looking hella fresh with that mullet. I am so glad that they decided to bring back Mullet Kenobi because it is objectively the best Obi-Wan look. So thank you Deborah Cho and everybody else that's working on this show for that. And we also get some super cool looks at not only the Inquisitors that we're going to see, but even a brand new planet. So that's right, we finally actually have confirmation that Obi-Wan will be leaving Tatooine at some point in this series to go off and do some other stuff, and we are going to get to see at least one other location, which if you've played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, you will recognize Fortress Inquisitorius, or at least the top little spire of Fortress Inquisitorius that sticks out of the water, which is something we actually didn't get to see too much of in the game itself, so it's cool to get to see that little bit of a reference to a really fantastic video game and really fantastic Star Wars story. And speaking of Fortress Inquisitorius, we also got our first look at the Grand Inquisitor, and this, I think, is the part where people kind of have a little bit of an issue with the way the Grand Inquisitor looks. It's in a similar way to the issue people had when Cad Bane showed up in the Book of Boba Fett. It mostly comes down to the differences between translating a stylized animated character into a live-action capacity. There's definitely some maybe good, maybe not so good reason that they didn't go with the original Revenge of the Sith design for the Grand Inquisitor, and I mean, it might be something as simple as they realized that going with that Revenge of the Sith design would then somehow limit how much action the Grand Inquisitor could actually do in the series, so they had to go with a more basic, more human/normal look for him than that Revenge of the Sith reference or the Star Wars Rebels reference, just to give him more mobility and more action, kind of like how Dave Filoni justified making Ahsoka's Leku shorter in The Mandalorian, so she could do more action without them kind of flopping all over the place and just looking weird. Not the best reason. Would still have loved, actually, to see them find a way to bring the live-action reference design back to life for this series, but nonetheless, we get the Grand Inquisitor, and I know some people had some reservations about them not casting Jason Isaacs for the role. He's the original voice actor for the character from Star Wars Rebels, but I've gotta say, just based on his line delivery in the trailer that we did get, I think they're gonna nail the Grand Inquisitor.
The key to hunting Jedi is patience. Jedi cannot help what they are. Their compassion leaves a trail. The Jedi Code is like an itch. He cannot help it.
His lines in this trailer were so good. So unbelievably good. The writers, Deborah Cho, everybody else, has found a way to perfectly encapsulate what it is to be a Jedi and what that means in pretty much a single sentence. And I think the delivery on it was perfect, and it just makes me even more excited for what we're going to see, like, actually of the Grand Inquisitor in the show itself. And all of the other Inquisitors looked fantastic. We're going to get definitely fed with Inquisitor content in this show, which is something that I've personally been looking forward to. The one thing, however, they did not show in this trailer that I sincerely hope is a thing at some point in this series is the helicopter sabers from Rebels. Yeah, that's right. I know they have created a whole lot of controversy in the fan base ever since they showed up in that other series, but I personally think they're freaking wicked, dude. They're so cool. Helicopter lightsabers are dope. And yes, I will absolutely die on this hill. You cannot change my mind about that. So I hope we get to see at least one in live action. Just please give it to me. That is all I want out of this series, besides Obi-Wan crying in a desert, which I think everybody can collectively agree will be the best thing about this series. But please, please Lucasfilm, please Deborah, just give me the helicopter sabers. That is all I ask for. But moving on from that, we did get some absolutely phenomenal shots of Obi-Wan on Tatooine. We also got to see a little bit of Owen Lars. And speaking of Owen Lars, I am actually really glad that Lucasfilm has gone from kind of just having Owen be this background, kind of really, in essence, unimportant type character, kind of just there to drive the plot forward for Luke, to actually being a badass and being present in this story. Like, the Owen Lars that they've been fleshing out in the Star Wars comics over the last few years has just been incredible. The man is such a badass, and just judging from the few shots we got of him in the trailer and from the preview images that were released in that Empire magazine, I think we're finally going to get to see in live action Owen Lars with the twin sun-size balls that man has been carrying around. Like, no joke. This man went from just, you know, taking care of Luke and being kinda mad at Obi-Wan and calling him a hermit in A New Hope, to calling out Obi-Wan's bullshit, saying that he's murdered enough Skywalkers, and, like, this man will absolutely, I think, without a shadow of a doubt, fistfight Darth Vader to protect Luke, and God, his characterization is going to be so good in this series. And I'm so glad he's a part of it and it's going to be a focus, because they could have very easily just made this show about Obi-Wan himself and then really just kind of had Owen and Beru as background characters, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. That seems like they're going to be really present in this story, and we're going to get to see a relationship between them and Obi-Wan and even Luke that we haven't gotten to see before, and that is what is so special about this series. This series has the potential to be the best piece of Star Wars media released since ever, really. I mean, since the original trilogy. Like, there's so much writing on this series, and if the trailer is anything to go by, I highly doubt we'll actually be disappointed. Of course, as with everything Star Wars these days, I personally go into all of it with zero expectations, or as few expectations as I can possibly have, so that I can actually view the series or the piece of media, movie, whatever, somewhat objectively, and base my opinions just off of what the series delivered as it progressed, rather than basing my enjoyment or my lack of enjoyment off of just like what I've already like want to happen in my head canon, and you know, basing it off of just like people's Twitter rumors and stuff like that. I generally try to ignore all of that stuff, and I highly encourage you to as well. There was a point, actually for the last month or two now, where I really debated with myself whether or not I even wanted to watch the Kenobi trailer, if there even was a Kenobi trailer before like May, because there for a while it didn't really seem like there was going to be one since they missed promoting this show at the Super Bowl. But I bit the bullet when the Obi-Wan Kenobi Twitter account did the iconic "Hello There" tweet that everybody went mad over, when they released the cover image of that Empire magazine showing Obi-Wan's new mullet look, and when they finally tweeted out the first teaser trailer. I obviously did not hesitate in watching it, and I was not disappointed. The amount of angst alone that they were managed to cram into less than 2 minutes, like, I'm just imagining what this series itself is gonna be like, what it's gonna be like when you have 6 possibly 1 hour long each episodes of all this angst, of all this emotion, and all of this story that we've never gotten to experience in a live action format before. Sure, the comics and books have done a fairly decent job at covering this type of stuff in the past, but all of that does not hold a candle to the power of Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, the power of the John Williams music. Like, when Duel of the Fates started playing in that trailer, I lost it. I felt the single tear slowly move down my cheek as those first few notes played. I got chills all along my arm. Like, it's such a powerful theme. And I'm so glad that they used it once again. The music in this series, at least in the trailer, slaps. They use these John Williams tracks so well. And I can't wait to see what they do in the series itself, because it was announced a few weeks back, sometime last month now, that John Williams was actually coming back to score some new music for Kenobi, so we'll get to see some of that, and there will probably be some brand new non-John Williams music in the series, although it would be interesting if there actually wasn't, because it would actually be the first and the only live-action Disney Plus series to have none of Ludwig Göransson's music, or none of anybody else's music except John Williams. So, I mean, maybe that'll be a thing, and if it is, it's gonna be beautiful. But I could go on and on and on just gushing about how incredible this trailer is, and how much I'm just waiting for this show to finally show up in my Disney Plus feed at the end of May. But if I did that, we'd be here for like 5 days, probably. I could just go on and on and on about this. Before I end this video off, I do want to talk a bit about expectations and kind of bring it around to what I addressed earlier in the video. So I've said in the past that I haven't really wanted an Obi-Wan series. I didn't think it was for me. I haven't really been looking forward to it in the same way that so many other people have. The very important but here, actually, is that the trailer for this series, I think, completely flipped the script on that. Like, sure, I'm always going to be the guy that pushes for brand new content, brand new characters, stories, locations, everything, instead of just having a reliance on these old legacy characters, these old planets like Tatooine, and these kind of rehashed stories that we've already seen before. But I think Kenobi might actually strike a good balance between all of that old stuff, the old characters, old stories that we already know, told in a new way and continued in a new way, mixed with, or balanced with, I should say, new characters and new locations, because there is going to be at least one brand new planet that Obi-Wan visits in this series. I forget the name of it right offhand, but apparently it's supposed to be like Space Hong Kong. So really looking forward to that, because I really love that kind of deep urban environment. That's just like absolutely my thing, and I am here for it all the way. And we get to see that blaster shootout with Obi-Wan on the rooftop between what looks to be Inquisitors and maybe some other people as well. So that's going to be super dope, and I hope we get a reference to the "so uncivilized" line, because of course we just have to have that. It is a requirement. We get to see Obi-Wan using a blaster instead of his lightsaber, so I really hope that he gets the chance to acknowledge that fact, that he can't use his lightsaber without drawing so much attention to himself and putting not only him, but those people around him and Luke in danger. And God, the potential is just so good. But the bottom line is that I'm super excited for this series now, and that's exactly what the point of the trailer was, which could lead into my various and sundry complaints about Lucasfilm marketing, but that is a topic all on its own, and one I'm probably not going to cover here on YouTube, but I do plan to cover in a week or so with my good friend Ashley over on the Outer Rim Cantina podcast. So if you haven't been keeping up, or you just somehow missed the few episodes that I've uploaded here on YouTube, I do actually have a podcast now where I kind of do some more of the long-form content and talk about topics that don't really perform too well here on YouTube, but just, really interest me and Ashley a whole lot. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, like the last episode we just uploaded was us gushing about how Attack of the Clones is good. Actually, the link to the podcast is down in the description, and it's available on all of your favorite audio platforms. So go follow those links over there and subscribe, follow, like, do all of that wonderful stuff if you're interested in checking out the podcast. But as always, I would love to know what you think of the Kenobi trailer down in the comments below. Go ahead and let me know how hyped you are for the Kenobi series premiering at the end of May. But that's all the time I've got for today. If you want even more Outer Rim Cantina content, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Outer Rim Can and Outer Rim Cantina for more daily Star Wars content. The links to both of those are down in the description of the video. Like I said, go check out the podcast as well if you're interested in some more long-form content. And that's going to wrap things up for me. So I hope to see you guys back here in the Cantina next time for another Star Wars video. Until then, may the Force be with you.